Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So good morning, everyone. I just want to remember you that we will share this recording on the ECCP website. Welcome to the European Alliance Against Coronavirus morning sessions. Today we will... Hello, Mark. Bonjour. Welcome also to you. Today we will focus our discussion on the role of clusters in eHealth. And I need to say that we have the best possible representatives here with us. So thank you, everyone of you for joining us. I would suggest you not only to speak about a possible role, but if you see it possible, try to go to concrete examples. That would be very good. And you know, this month we are focusing our discussion on the different flagships that are included in the recovery and resilience facility. So if possible, it will be very interesting to understand what can eHealth do, what role can clusters do on these recovery plans. So to speak about it, we have today 4 speakers: Irina Calderón from DG Connect, Licinio Custra from DG Santé, Jorge González from TIC Biomed, and Anaïs Lecobert from CIBER. So welcome. And Irina, are you there? Can you hear me? I saw you.
Yes, good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Irina. Thank you. I don't see. Do you have one presentation? Would
Yes,
you like...
I do. I have a presentation, but yes, I don't know. Do you want
I'm
to?
giving you now the presentation rights.
Okay.
Now you have then.
Yes, just a second. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm open.
We are not seeing your screen yet.
Yes, I'm just a second. I'm really sorry.
No problem. Don't worry.
Share. Do you see it now?
Yes, not in full screen mode. Could you put it in full screen?
Yes, just a second.
Slideshow, yes, a slideshow in the menu is the 7 option, I think. In the high. No. Please. Is the 7 option in the top menu, slideshow? Slideshow? In the top menu? No. Under the title? Yes, under your arrow now. A little lower.
Okay.
You see a slideshow?
Irina, you see? Oh.
No, I can't see.
If you go to, if you see there home, the tab that is called home, that is in white, then you have to follow the 7th one. You see on the top, home, that is on white, it's a tab. On the left, on the top,
yes.
You see home. So then you have to find a tab that says slideshow.
Yes, the problem is I can find it on my slides, but then I cannot share it. Can you now see the slides?
No, you have stopped the sharing. Could you share again?
Exactly. Yeah, because when I share, just a second. Can you?
Not yet.
Can you give me the share slides again? The share rights again?
I think that you have then. I think that you have the rights. You have one button for sharing the screen, just on the side of the micro and camera buttons.
Yes, thank you. So
now, don't worry. We can see now. I think that is good enough. We can see the screen. Don't worry, Irina.
no, the problem is that when I share them, yes, the slides of so I
Disappear. Don't worry. I think that is
the
good
slides
enough.
disappear. Yes, I'm sorry.
No problem at all. You can go on if you want. Thank you, Irina, and welcome.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Yes, I will try to be quick this morning, although I have put together more slides than I have foreseen, but we will go through them very quickly. Good morning, everybody. I am a policy officer in DG Connect Unit eHealth Wellbeing and Aging. For now 3.5 years before working in DG Regio and other things before the commission. I wanted to quickly present to you what we in DG Connect have been doing when it comes to digital health. And of course, we have had a policy which change and are different throughout these years, but the most encompassing policy formulation in the last years has been our communication on the transformation of health and care, which was adopted in 2018. And it has three main chapters, or three main pillars, we call it. One focusing on enabling secure access and exchange of health data, also cross bordings. In this respect, we have also adopted a recommendation on electronic health records exchange format in the beginning of last year, 2019. But this, of course, also includes work on cybersecurity issues, on health data, and yeah, all kinds of aspects of health data, of course. Our second pillar includes aspects related to pooling and sharing data together for better health research and more personalized medicine. And maybe our biggest initiative now in this respect is the genomic initiative on linking genomic data in Europe. So the initiative is open also to countries, to AAA countries. And it is together today signed already by 23 countries, 21 member states, Norway and the UK. And then I come to our third pillar, which is empowering citizens with digital technologies and to better monitor their health status and their health alone, to better exchange with their health practitioners in an individual way. In this respect, we have funded under Horizon 2020 in those last 6-7 years around 200 projects under Societal Challenge 1, Health, Demographic Change and Well-being. Those projects are of various nature and various topics. I have put together some examples. So, for example, supporting the aging population at homes and to have personalized and coaches to better live their everyday lives. We have projects, quite some projects on which focus on also on the older adults who work, for example, over 50, 55, still at work, and how to make sure that they could follow also some health plan and to be taken care of by often also their informal carers. We have also projects when it comes to elderly population, also all kinds of apps to help find disoriented persons, which happens often when we age. But we also have projects on enabling the use of data and promoting, so using data stored in different health facilities, projects to focusing on early prognosis of different diseases. This is, for example, in Parkinson, but also in all kinds of dementia, to better monitor our health, heart, but also to help people with different impairments, like sound of vision, for example, is a project helping people with visual impairment to independently find themselves, for example, walk on the street and have a little bit more empowerment to do their daily actions on their own. And all kinds of apps, as I said, to better monitor the people suffering with asthma and to better manage their own health, people with diabetes or cystic fibrosis, and of course a whole range of robotic assistants for the elderly, but also for people which need them. Very important part is also the management of the active and assisted living program in this last 8 years, which is a public partnership between the Commission and member states, and actually some of the countries are not member states, like Canada or Israel, supporting the uptake and deployment of digital tools on a very regional level, together with health authorities, with the local industry, SMEs, and with public authorities. We have also published a report and a strategy on the silver economy. Very shortly, talking about the benefits of the ever-growing silver economy, which is expected to grow to very quickly in our coming years, given that in 2070 more than 1/3 of our population is expected to be above 65. When I say our, I mean the European population. And it's different aspects on how to promote this economy. One of them is to promote digital skills, of course, for older people to better manage their own health, but also to be able, for example, to go on a third or fourth career once they retire, which digital technologies can facilitate, but also all this support for innovators who come up with new ideas to develop such technologies, which is also, of course, growth in the economy. I'll move forward because I think I have to be a little bit more conscious on the timing. Very important maybe to the European Clusters Alliance is that we funded and managed since 2012 the European Innovation Partnership on Active and Healthy Aging. And other than its different focuses and activities, the most important is that throughout these years, this partnership has given the rise of today 103 reference sites. And reference sites those are ecosystems on regional level. Very often those are municipalities, cities, which are willing and commit to work on active and healthy aging, and in this respect they support the uptake of technology to better monitor health status of this population. And this is a very living ecosystem across the EU, which we in the Commission, of course, would continue to support in the coming years. I would very quickly say, of course, that health data as such and the data economy have been a priority for Commissioner Breton, and that in this respect we adopted also a data strategy this February, working on creating several data spaces, 9 on mobility, finance, agriculture, but of course also health, which will support the creation of the European health data space, another big priority of the Commission, on which I think that my colleague from DG Santé would elaborate a little bit more. Very quickly to the future. Future plans when it comes to supporting innovation in health and care. As you know, we are coming to a new financial framework next year. And in this respect, you know, there are different funds and programs supporting certain challenges. In Horizon Europe, we would have partnership on transforming health and care. Of course, when it comes to structural funding, there are quite a lot of different programs when it comes to also to smart specialization strategy on deploying digital technologies for health. You mentioned very well the Recovery and Resilience Facility, which has a very big budget and which is taught for supporting the digital transition but also the ecological transition. So investments in health are expected to be important in reforms in health. The EU for Health program also has different actions also related to skills and to the adoption of telemedicine. And of course, the Digital Europe program, which is a program focusing on deploying technologies in all sectors, not only health. And the aim is to, of course, reach a certain scale. Because, as you well know, what very often lacks in Europe is the scale. The main pillars of this program are investments in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, interoperability, digital skills, and HPC, and deploying those technologies in different sectors. When it comes to health, as I mentioned, there will be different calls to support data spaces, linking also genomic data, but also maybe what really is of relevance to our meeting today are those two plans to, one, the creation of artificial intelligence testing and experimentation facilities in health, which will be large-scale facilities to test technologies on scale and to deploy AI, but also to make sure that other aspects such as certification and also deployment in member states would be very important. They have different focuses. They will not focus on one health issue, but rather on different aspects. So, of course, on pediatrics, for example, or on cancer, or on genomics, but also on, for example, it could also be creating a real-world environment for testing some technologies and sensors, robots, for example, on older adults, but not exclusively. And another important focus would be the creation of a network of digital innovation hubs working on health. As you know, maybe digital innovation hubs is not a new concept as such. Those are hubs focusing on technologies, and the aim is to have one hub per each region in Europe, so more than 270 hubs, and they would aim to, on regional level, to offer testing and experimenting with new technologies for innovators and for SMEs, but they would also offer support in business plan or in procurement or in networking with other hubs, but also in promoting digital skills courses, for example, for health practitioners or carers. And of course, I will be happy to answer your questions after that. And I think this is the end of my presentation. Yeah. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Antonio, we cannot hear you.
Thank you. Sorry. You are very welcome, Irina. And I was saying that it would be wonderful if you could send us the presentation. If you think that we could share it with the rest of the participants and generally with the public on the ECCP web page, where we will publish the recording of this session. Thank you, and I am sure that we will come back to you with questions. But before, we need to give the voice now to Licino Custra from DG Sante. Hello, welcome, Licino. I'm giving you the presentation rights.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Antonio. Thank you for having us.
Now you should be able to share your screen now. Perfect.
And you should be able to see me and see also the screen. That's great news. As I was saying, thank you very much for having me here, or for having us. I'm not representing myself, I'm representing DG Santé, and in particular, a unit that is called European Reference Networks and Digital Health. And I can tell you that is an excitement and a privilege to work in this unit, taking consideration the work that we have been doing and the people with whom we have been working for. Today, and for sake of time, and since I'm in full openness with you, I'm here more to listen, to collect ideas than to speak. So I will try to speak less and have the chance to hear from you, your ideas. So our focus from today, we could focus also in so many other things, but we would like to focus you and your mind on secondary use of health data. So let's try for today. We will not focus on primary use of health data. We have so much to share with you and so much to ask, but let's try to have this secondary use of health data and EU-wide perspective. What I mean by secondary, just to keep everyone at the same understanding, health data is used to treat patients. Usually, Licinius health data is used to treat Licinia. So that would be the primary use of my health data. Secondary is when Licinius health data can be used together with others' health data to create insights for treating others. So secondary use of health data. That's how we define the word and the concept for ourselves. In that world of secondary use of health data, we have our Commission Kyriakides mission letter, as Irina was starting to introduce. And Commissioner Kyriakides gave us a mission. We need to take the most of the potential of eHealth to provide high quality healthcare and reduce inequalities. I understand that some of you will say, listen, this is a typical political speech, but let's look at this. I want you to work on the creation of an European health data space to promote health data exchange and support research on new preventive strategies, as well on treatments, medicines, medical devices, and outcomes. Last but not the least, as part of this, you should ensure citizens have control over their own personal data. So at this point, it becomes quite concrete on what our mission for, let's say, for the next 10 years is. So the question is how we at DG Santé, the Digital Health Unit, can contribute to this mission. And after listening so many of the stakeholders, we came to the simple concept that we want to share with you. I promise that I only have 3 slides, so it's not that much. So the first concept is, what is the European health data space? And we would like to share with you some early thoughts and maybe challenge you to give us feedback on this. So we believe that the European health data space should be a network of nodes. What are those nodes? So imagine these nodes as trust anchors. So by trust anchors means what? Means that you, a data holder, meaning someone that has data from patients, because you are a hospital, you are a GP, you are a private practice, you are a registry, you are a data holder. You have that data with you. And in the other hand, you have data consumers, the ones that have the questions, the ones that have the questions, the ones that can make the use of data for other purposes that not healthcare directly. So the ones that want to get access to data for different type of purposes. We'll talk about that. And you have these two types of stakeholders behind what we call the nodes. The nodes are the trust anchors, and the principle is if you belong to a node, you need to follow common rules, policies, and interoperability specifications. So what would be the typical use case? Well, there is a policymaker or a research here in this side that would like to make a question, that would like to retrieve all data related with side effects to this drug on people that have developed this specific lung disease. So this question would be written in a common language. That question would be sent to all the European health data space nodes that have the potential to answer to that question, and then the information would come back to this node and it would be presented to the consumer, so the one that made the question, and this way you could run your analysis and make your conclusions and findings, and with that develop your policies, your products, or making your regulation function. So what we are saying here is that we believe that the European health data space is not a centralized infrastructure, but a fully distributed, federated infrastructure that relies on data that is there, data stays where it is, and what we believe is that these nodes should belong as trust anchors. One more important aspect: what is a node? A node can be established at national or transnational level. What does that mean? Imagine a node could be, sorry, this is when I press it moves. A node can be a country, can be a region, can even be a big hospital, could be whatever we believe is the right granularity to establish a European governance. A node can be a European agency like EMA, European Medicine Agency, or ECDC, Control of Diseases, or it can even be, imagine a well-established infrastructure, research infrastructure like Eden, like Elixir, that have already an ecosystem of partners, and it would be, and they can actually have both functions as data holders because they have access to so much data, and they also have the researchers that they have so many innovative and pertinent questions. So an EHDS node could be an entry door for a research infrastructures. Well, that's to see, this is the concept that we have behind in the mind of our heads, and we would like to hear if you believe that this concept could build and scale up to become a European health data space. Now, moving to a framework. So you ask, okay, listen, so after we have the design of the infrastructure, which are the fundamentals, the pillars of this construct? So we would like to think that there are three main purposes for health data. So better healthcare, some of you may argue, and you are right, that this is better healthcare means, can we use data for better healthcare? Yes, that's what doctors, nurses, and all health professionals try to do, is use data to provide better healthcare to our citizens. Now, the second function is better policy making and regulation. So imagine all the public health authorities in our countries that try to look at data when they have access to it, look at it and try to say, how can we organize our systems better? How can we create public health programs better based on this data? And also the regulators, how can we say, when the medicine agencies and products agencies in our countries try to regulate before it enters the market and after the product enters the market, how can they regulate the use of health products and medicines? And last but not the least, our research and research tissue, and also our innovative companies, SMEs and big tech. So how can they use data to extract findings that would lead to develop new products, being them medicines or health technologies? So these are the three horizontal perspectives that we have. And in order to construct the European health data space, we would like to construct it based on 5 pillars. The one is the legal. And what we are trying to listen here from the ground is, which are the legal barriers to use health data for better healthcare, for better policy making, and for better research? An example, simple one, people usually say that to us that in order to apply GDPR for secondary use of data, this is very cumbersome because it's difficult to have an explicit consent from the patient when you don't exactly know how the information will be used for which purpose, maybe policy, maybe regulation, or there are different type of studies. So how to capture that? Should we have a code of conduct? Should we have a more clear legal framework for secondary use of data in terms of GDPR? Well, that's one of the questions we hear consistently over time. Governance. How should we organize those nodes? How should we govern those nodes? Which are the policies, and who should stand at the table that will make these kind of decisions? Who can become a node? Which are the steps in which nodes need to be evaluated before they become a node? And which are the rights and the decisions that these nodes will be able to take? This question would be the governance framework around it. Now, entering into the big challenges of our time is quality of data. We could have access to all data in Europe, but if this data is collected without going through common similar standards on how to collect data and how to encode data, how can we possibly take insights from this data if we don't ensure the quality at its base? What can we do more to ensure that? How can we walk towards this European quality assurance framework for health data? One common question that we hear. Of course, people also say about verification, but it's already a more technical approach to data quality. Here is how can we ensure quality while collecting data and making sure that when used afterwards, information is understood beyond the one that collected information. Regarding infrastructure, how can we create this open infrastructure that does not rely on a central core power that is distributed, that can be resilient to nodes going up and down, and the infrastructure allows to work and sustains in a way that is not proprietary. It's not a siloed infrastructure. It's an infrastructure that can grow. Let's use a common example, like the internet can grow. We should not grow uncontrolled, but we should grow organically. So we need to have something that can scale up to European dimension. And last but not the least, we can do everything before that if we don't have our people on the ground, health professionals, our researchers, our policymakers, our regulators, our citizens, if they are not skilled up with how to live in this new world where their data is being used and how this is important and how to use data for different purposes other than better healthcare, if we don't invest enough in capacity building, we believe that all the construct may not work. So, and this is what we would like really to challenge and hear ideas from you to each of these layers and pillars, how to move forward. And things that we should consider while we are doing the studies that we are running for the next in 2020 and 2021. Now, one big challenge that I shared with some of our colleagues around the table here today is the following. We need success stories, and we are looking for use cases relying very specifically on secondary use of data, using aggregated data. I believe that you are familiar. Let me just, what would be the alternative to aggregated data? Some people may say anonymized data or patient-level data. For the time being, we are trying to be very specific. Can we add significant value by providing aggregated data? By aggregated mean I ask a question and you reply to me, I have 5 of these patients. But you never share with me a full data set of the patients. The data stays there and you only retrieve results and insights from that. And we are really looking and trying to find, because it's easier to say than do this kind. We can demonstrate that you can actually provide value by using aggregated data for secondary use of data, and you can actually deliver some value for policymakers, for regulators, for researchers, and for the companies. And this is the main question I leave to you. If there is one question is, do you have a success story, a case where you find you mix these two elements and you have demonstrated a significant innovation to society? This is what we want to learn, because this is what we want to scale up to European perspective. Glad to hear all the questions and ideas that you may have today. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome, Licino, and thank you, because you are giving us very concrete challenges and opportunities. So that's good. Easier to answer. Okay, as we are a little tight on timing, I'm going to pass directly to the next speaker, that is Jorge Gonzalez from TIC Biomed. Jorge, should I give you the presentation rights?
Yes, please. Thanks, Antonio.
Okay.
Can you see my screen then?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so I'm going to start. Actually, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jorge Gonzalez. I'm the cluster manager of TIC Biomed. We are a business cluster focused on digital health, on eHealth, located in Spain but operating at a European level. I want to first start my presentation with the question that it was mentioned at the beginning of at the title of this session: what clusters can do for eHealth, so to say. And I see three main areas where clusters can contribute. And then, following Antonio's advice and suggestion, I'm going to focus on two concrete examples of how that can be materialized. Okay, so basically, what I want to do is state that the roles that I see where the cluster can contribute most to the value is first becoming a kind of connector, that is supporting the bridging between the two areas that we are trying to connect. So we are in eHealth, we are in digital health, we are connecting healthcare with ICT capabilities, so to say. So becoming one cluster, becoming one connector between these two different worlds, so to say, these two different mentalities with different objectives and different cultures, is one of the value that we can deliver as clusters. The second area that we can contribute is become promoters of initiatives. That is accelerating pace, being a catalyst, triggering projects, pilots, initiatives that without us, it would take longer and probably it would never happen again. It would never happen if we are not there. So that's our second role, being promoters. And the third role that I see that clusters can deliver to the ecosystem is that we become partners in order to deliver value within those projects. So for example, we can deliver value in terms of business modeling, access to private funding, commercialization, support in connecting with legal and regulatory, etc., etc. So the main, I will put, there are more perhaps, but basically these three for me are the main areas of contribution where clusters can deliver high value to the ecosystem. And I repeat, one is being a connector, one is being a promoter, and one is being a partner. Now, for the sake of understanding this better, what I suggest is that I'm going to give you two concrete examples on how this works. One is one project that we did under a European project from the eHealth unit, that is the eHealth Hub platform. Basically, the problem that we have with digital health is that it's a kind of relative young environment, that there is a lot of especially small players coming, and it's very, very agile. So it's difficult to navigate. And for that, you need different stakeholders. You need investors, you need SMEs, you need big companies, you need healthcare organizations, experts in legal, experts in regulation, academics, etc., etc. Especially for those that are new to the ecosystem, it can be very passive. It can be very confusing to know who you best work with. You should contact to propose a deal or to find for a partner or just to know what is the state of the art in some particular area. So this is the problem that we try to address, and this is the solution. We wanted to have a quick scan of the ecosystem. We wanted to create a kind of the yellow pages, but it was very extremely easy to navigate. For that, we talked with people from SMEs, what they will be looking for, what kind of needs do they have, for example, in looking for investors. We have now, and then we start collecting more than 1,100 actors are already in the platform. So this is not only for SMEs, okay? This is for the whole ecosystem. It's also for investors to see what's going on the companies. It is also for companies to see if they need legal and regulatory support to find them. So this is actually for everybody, okay? And this is how it looks like. What we have done is that we have created a listing of companies, but that can be very easy to be filtered, search in order to look for what you're looking for. If you are looking for eHealth, that they are in first phase on scaling up, and that they are related to surgery and rehabilitation, you just click, 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 and get into that. I will show you live how it works now. And you not only identify the names, but also you can get to a profile where there is the details, the web page, if they are looking for funding, who are the team members, and all a small snapshot of the company. Okay, and so we believe that this is a very, very quick way to assess or to identify who are the potential partners, to see what's the state of the art in the sector. And actually, one thing that you can also do is that you can download your search and then use it for your own goods. For example, if you are looking for investors, just download what you have, and then the following up, you just incorporate columns in the Excel, and that helps you to keep track of the interactions that you have done with the investors. So, for example, if you are doing an open market consultation, say for a PCP or PPI, and you are a healthcare organization, like in this case, it can also be very useful because, again, with very few clicks, you can just get what you are looking for, okay? Or at least it's a very good starting point. The benefits that we have been working on to deliver for this platform is to get visibility, especially for the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. Very easy to find healthcare stakeholders, identify solutions that can solve problems to the current challenges of the healthcare organization, especially because you can download your searches, you can manipulate them for your own purposes afterwards, so it can increase value or personalized value because it's so quick. Just click, click, click. It takes very little time and it's 100% open and free. Okay, I'm going to show you how it looks like in reality. This is the platform. This is online, so you just log in, enter your data. Here you go. You say, I want to find permanent. So say you are looking for SMEs that are, as Irina was saying, they are in active and healthy aging in, say, Spain. And then you have 27. You can download the results. You can say, no, but I'm only interested in the ones that are in development. Yeah, you have 2. In development are already in the market. 4. Okay, you understand me. I want to see all the investors that are in Germany. Here you go. And I need to see, I want to understand more about them. Here you go. You have access to the fee, what is the minimum ticket, the maximum ticket, what is the web page, and some of them they have incorporated the personal details. I guess that you understand the idea, okay? We have corporates, healthcare organizations, business supporters, other clusters are here, okay? Experts in legal and regulatory, research, others, etc. This is open, this is free. Everybody can register and everybody can make use for free. This is a result of a European project that we already finished and that we are maintaining as TPMF after the project. So this is one particular example of of how clusters can contribute to the eHealth space. And I want to show you another example, which is another project that we have been doing. And that is the, wait a minute, I thought I had, sorry. That is in demand. And I want to show you this video. I hope it's, bear with me, it's only 2 minutes. Hope you can hear.
No, we cannot hear, Jorge. We have
Okay,
no sound.
just read the subtitles. Just read the subtitles. Okay, so this is the video. Happy to share it after my intervention. So in this project, we as a cluster, we are the coordinator of the project. So we are a promoter, but we are also a partner, meaning that the business support in terms of business modeling, private funding, and commercialization has been also provided by us, a cluster. So these are concrete examples, as Antonio was requesting, of how clusters can add value to the ecosystem. One, we are having this kind of yellow pages of the digital health ecosystem. And this one is that we have created a new instrument that is demand-driven and co-created, and that is faster and linear PCP and PPI, if you know that. I want to finish with just one thing, just one remark. We have been very successful in this in-demand model, but we have come to realize now that the challenge is not in setting up pilots to test innovation from small and medium enterprises in digital health. More or less, the market is mature, and by I mean the market, I mean especially the healthcare organizations, they know how to do that. What they are not so good at is at adopting the technology after the pilot is a success. And I think that here, clusters, we can also deliver a lot of value because we know each of the sides of the market, let's say the healthcare organizations and the ICT companies. And without adoption, that's what we say is that innovation without adoption is money for nothing. It's actually very frustrating. We need to improve the adoption rate of successful pilots for good of the eHealth system. Okay, that's it, Antonio.
Thank you very much, Jorge, and congratulations for all the work that you are doing. And now it's time to hear Anaïs Lecobert. But before Anaïs, I just want to share very quickly with you, because we are short time, some data about clusters on digital and e-health. Okay, just very quickly, just for your information, there are something like 182 e-health clusters health clusters in Europe, and near 450 digital clusters. Okay, so I don't know what is the mix. We don't have the data, but most probably the vast majority of the industrial clusters working on health are working also in digital. So, Anais, should I give you the presentation rights?
Yes, I'm going to be extremely short because you left me with no time, but that's fine because that was super interesting, the interventions. So let me just do that right away. I can share the presentation anyway for the future. I think the most important now would be to have the clusters that are all here today. That I see about more than 40 people that could actually share their example. But I just wanted to oh, sorry for that. I don't know if you see my screen or not.
Yes, we are seeing it. Go on, please.
But anyway, just to answer what you just said, Antonio, I think we at CBER, we're about now getting to 40 members in health all over Europe. So even though we're not 180 registered in CCP, I think we have a critical mass and we gathered a lot of experience together. So I hope we can keep on connecting. But in any case, there are a lot of health clusters that do digital, as you said, whereas there are a lot of digital clusters that get into the e-health, but maybe miss sometimes the health component. So anyway, we are working all together, which is very good. So just in terms of the key streams of work, I highlighted two. Digitalization is one key, and obviously taking the role, as Jorge just mentioned before, of connectors that clusters have. So I will just go to two concrete things that I wanted to mention today. One is that we have what we call special interest groups, which are working groups of our members on several topics, and one of them is digitalization. As I put here, the objectives are currently under review, but it's really to get in line with the digital strategy from Europe and how cluster can implement it, but also get example of what works and what doesn't. And this is open to external stakeholders. So I would be very happy to have also Irina and Luciano participate in some of the meetings that we have, because I think there we can have also practical exchange of practices. So I will keep you updated on that. And the second was some of the experience. Some of them are more, let's say, medtech oriented, because eHealth is more in the digital data, sometime in terms of definition, but I just put a few examples here on some of the clusters, what they do. So like I said, SmartMed, DI-Chiro, actually some of the clusters that are promoting those projects are here. But just on one project that we are involved in as CBER, which is Safe and MedTech, although it's really related to medical technologies and nanotechnologies, but one of the key aspects is also about the health technology assessment. And I think that can also relate to what Jorge is saying in terms of the adoption of the technology itself, being it e-health or medical technology. So those are 5 examples. We will have more and we will definitely share more. But I will stop right away, because I think there are surely some questions and some people that want to even explain their examples. So all members of CBER is here. I see a lot of you. Please don't hesitate to just take my time as a speaker.
Thank you, Anais. Merci beaucoup. I will propose to extend the session some minutes, those of you that can remain, because it's clear that we need more time. Okay, so if you are able, please keep with us for some minutes, perhaps 15. Okay, and that way we could really establish a dialogue on what has been said. So questions, comments for those present? I'm sure that there are questions or comments.
I have a comment. I have a comment for
Jorge.
for the DigiSante. I guess you know that, but probably you know that Finland is very advanced in terms of use of data, especially genomic. They actually changed the law, the national law. So GDPR is much more open for reusing data from individuals that in other countries, and there is a national strategy for doing so. My suggestion, if in case you don't know that, is that you especially engage with clusters in Finland and in the Nordics, that they can point you to success stories about them. In Spain, for example, which is the reality I have closer, it's not so easy. But another thing will be that we put in value the European Connected Alliance, sorry, the European Cluster Alliance, and we actually make a request to our members to come up with these success stories if they happen to know them. One option is that you provide a text to Antonio, and then Antonio makes dissemination through the network that we have.
Thank you, Jorge. There was a question from Nina on the chat. Is there any place to set those references, Tiziano? Or should we send them to you by email?
By email sounds good. The most important is that we start this cycle and this iterative conversation, because of course I can read by email, but another thing would be to hear in voice from you what your ideas are. But yes, let's start with the email, and if needed, a second session focus on discussion, debate. That would be super.
I can give you one concrete example, because in my cluster that is ICT focus, we have one big hospital with not only a hospital, they have 80 facilities across Europe, okay? And we have a concrete project on analyzing the data from the scanners, anonymized for sure, but looking for patterns and applying artificial intelligence on those patterns to be able to extrapolate the data from to compare and to analyze data from new scanners, checking with all the patterns analyzed on the complete database. Is that kind of project what you are speaking about or not?
So this is the kind of projects that we do in Connect very often, using big data for all kinds of AI applications, definitely. So I don't know about my colleague from DG Santé.
So at this point, the focus, as I mentioned, our focus is we would like to track first the following: aggregated data. So the idea that someone makes a question and what you retrieve is aggregated data. So this is the kind of example that we are looking for. This is the use case we are looking for. There are other use cases like putting all the data, all patient level data into a big database, like creating a pool the information into a database, and then looking to the findings at patient level granularity. And there is even the third thing, that is training an algorithm. I send my algorithm to you, you expose my neural network algorithm to your data, and it tunes, it learns, and then it comes back to me already fine-tuned based on the data that you have. But first, we would like to focus, and this is why it's so hard. Many people have told us it's possible to do findings and innovation based on aggregated data. So we really would like to go to the end of the world to see which are the best examples out there on innovation based on aggregated data first. Then we can go to the other ones that are more complex and imply different type of GDPR provisions. Make sense?
Okay, this is Jorge again. I know one regional healthcare provider that he may have experience with that. I need to double check with them. But again, if you want to do something much more systematic and comprehensive, my suggestion is that you share a text with Antonio, and then Antonio delivers that through the network of the European Cluster Alliance, which has hundreds of nodes, and then it will help you to structure the feedback. But for that, we need to know exactly what you want, and that's why it's best that you propose the text. We can even create a form to collect the data in a structured way as you would like, you know, like a Google form or the European tool that to make surveys, whatever you want. That's so then you can see the value of the clusters, how clusters can help you with your needs.
Yeah, Jorge, that's right. But just to clarify, when I say pattern, data patterns, we are speaking about aggregated, anonymized data, because those are patterns, and sometimes they are composed by or created from thousands or millions of the different data. So what you retrieve are patterns that you can compare with the. You can use the patterns by themselves for sure, but you could also contrast the pattern with one concrete patient. Could be. Okay, but that is the general idea. Okay, more comments. Are there more references on this point between the?
Yes, Antonio, can I make a very short question to Jorge? Jorge, very interesting your position about the role of clusters in eHealth strategy. I think there is one point that is very important on this, that is the relation between the public and the private. Because as you know, in the health system, it's very important the kind of cooperation that you have between the national systems of health, and with the COVID, this situation is important, and the private one, the hospitals, the universities, the clusters. How do you see from your experience this kind of cooperation between the private and the public?
Jorge, it's a question for you.
A question for me? The collaboration between private and public actors? Sorry, maybe I didn't understand clearly the question. Can you please?
I would propose not to lose time because we have very, very few minutes. We can answer you by email if you want.
Right, but very simple. How I see that the connection between public healthcare organization and private, say, ICT actors is that the need is identified by the public healthcare organization, and then the solution is co-created together with a private ICT company, and at the end both benefit of that approach. Okay, in different things. I can talk more later about this. I invite people to see the in-demand webpage where we give examples of challenges and solutions that have been proposed, and I can talk about this offline. Okay, I hope I have at least partly answered your question.
Thank you, Jorge. So
I have a question.
So
I'm really my piano is getting fixed now, so you could hear it. But I have a question to Anais, and because we are lacking some time already, would it be possible to have your slides, because I'm very interested in some of the projects that you mentioned, and especially their results when it comes to really scaling up digital for health, because as Jorge mentioned, and Antonio as well, our really biggest challenge is to scale up those digital solutions which are already after their pilot phase, but then no one uses them and no one uses them. So just having a little bit more overview of maybe if there have a kind of a report on their results, it would be interesting for us to see.
Definitely, and I was going to invite you because, like you said, we have little time, and I hope with Antonio we already discussed to do other session, maybe more related, for example, to medtech, but all related to health and technologies, and because it's a big issue, and definitely with the working group that we will have, we will invite you also, Irina, and I see a lot of the members here, so I'm sure. You know, especially for example the Nordic clusters that are in terms of public health very advanced, I would say, in terms of eHealth adoption. So I'm sure we can gather more experience on that, because like I say, I see a lot of cluster from the north here, but yeah, because of time, it's a little limited. So definitely we will keep on working on that. And I think what was mentioned in terms of the good practices, and even I would say the bad practices, because it's always good to learn about what works and what doesn't, we will scale it up and move it up to you. Great.
Perfect.
Thank
Sven, I see that you want to comment something, Sven?
Yes, perfect. Hi. So just a warm welcome from Estonia as well. I was very interested to hear all the presentations. One thing that I kept in mind is Mr. Manuel mentioned that they're looking for the examples of secondary data. So we may have something in Estonia. This is something we should maybe follow. I already copied your email, and with Scanbus, we're also gathering best practices of cross-border collaboration and including data. So there could be something there as well. So just to let you know that Mr. Manuel will be contacting you after this event, and hopefully have a good discussion and letting you know more about what we do and if there's any place for collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sven. Okay, any last comment? So for me, it's very clear that we need to continue speaking. I am sure that we will find out that kind of references, and so we will continue. And as I said, you have the perfect place to do it, also in the working group of CIBER. So that's a good start. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and you are invited to our next session on Wednesday. Okay, which is about what, Nina? Sorry, because I forgot.
On Wednesday, we will talk about the RRF Flagship Connect. So about
Connect. So it's again about connection, okay, and the networks and cloud. And cloud, by the way, is critical for what we are speaking. So next Wednesday, you have the opportunity to continue thinking about solutions and proposals from our side. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
great week, everyone. Bye-bye.